everyone, welcome to CricPunts with Fasi. It's a new series, but it's the same start. India lost yet another first match of a series. They're making a habit out of losing the first match, but hey, we fans won't complain if India can turn around and win the series every time they lose the first match. With so much excitement for this heavyweight clash, the first match of this 5 match series turned out to be just one way traffic. It was a true clinical performance from the England side, especially with the ball. They rattled India with pace, clever field placements, and India were just left clueless. If there was one way England would want to play going into the World Cup, this is the template. England won the toss and, as expected, elected to ball first as dew was to set in later and the surface would not change much going forward. They went in with the usual batting order along with Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, Jordan, and Sam Curran forming the pace unit, with Adil Rashid being the lone spinner. Morgan had so many options that only 3 players completed the full quota of 4 overs. India went the opposite way by including 3 spinners in Washington Sundar, Akshar Patel, and Chahal, and just 2 pacers in Bhuvi and Thakur with Hardik Pandya bowling. Rohit was given a much needed rest to manage his workload, but it was a strange decision to play 3 spinners. Yes, the pitch was on the slower side, but 3 spinners was a bit overstretched. I can't really understand why they did that. The only reason I can think of is because since Jaddu isn't here, there is a big hole in the number 7 position. Someone who can come in and finish the innings. Since he isn't here and Akshar and Washington Sundar aren't big hitters of the ball, they needed both to give depth to the batting, but it's just my guess and I feel that was a weird decision, but not that India lost because of this anyway. Right from ball 1, England hit the right lens. Surprisingly, they started with Adil Rashid, who was very tight up front. All the bowlers chipped in and bowled with a lot of discipline and at fiery pace. They strangled India by having 23 dots in the power play. They frustrated the Indian batsmen so much that the top 3 threw away their wickets in frustration. The top 3 just didn't spend enough time in the middle, they didn't get the pace of the pitch and went out trying to force their way out of the struggle. Virat Kohli added another duck to his string of low scores. Rahul and Dhawan have waited a long time to bat again but just didn't bat long enough. India were 3 wickets down in the power play and they just couldn't recover from this. England have really struggled in the past to take power play wickets, but against Australia they found a bit of template, pure pace up top, and that worked like a charm in this match too. They used the short ball to good effect and consistently stuck to the back of length deliveries at good pace. They bowled a hard length, not allowing any width to the batsman. They read the surface well than their counterparts and used the dimensions of the ground to good effect too. Mark Wood was cranking it up at 150 kilometers at one point, and the new ambitious positive approach from India just didn't work. What stood out to me was how perfectly England have planned everything, from the bowling attack to the field placements. Just shows you why Morgan is one of the best, if not the best, white ball captain going around. They knew exactly what not to bowl to a particular batsman. For example, only 2 of the deliveries England bowled to Hardik Pandya this evening have been full. England knew their best option to restrict Hardik was hard lengths and they executed it perfectly. Jofra Archer was his usual self in the power play, barely giving away anything and picking up wickets. But for me, Mark Wood was the bowler to watch. It was just raw pace, making the batsmen duck and dance at the crease. England have begun to ball out Mark Wood early in the recent times. Since the start of last year, only 5 of his 25 overs have come at death. He's rapidly becoming England's middle over enforcer. And except for Iyer, no one looked comfortable in the middle. All those people who wanted Sky, including myself, here is a tight slap to us from Iyer. We all know he's good against spin, but having faced only 5 deliveries from the spin in this innings, and still making such contributions shows that he's improving. And that's what I love to see from players, always trying to improve, and that's a good sign for India going forward. It was a very calculated innings, playing proper cricketing shots. He adjusted well to the pace of the pitch, just didn't try anything fancy, but he just didn't have any help from the other end as wickets kept tumbling at regular intervals. There was just no rhythm to the batting of the Indian side. They misread how they should go about on this pitch, which is on the slower side, and tried to go hard from ball 1, and that didn't work. Eventually, India were restricted to 124 for 7. This was never enough for a side like England, and if India needed to at least make a game out of this, they needed quick wickets, but Jason Roy and Joss Butler made sure they humiliated India further and just buried the match in the power play, with 50 runs on the board with no wickets lost. Batting seemed very easy when England were out in the middle, just as they do every time. They took their time to get going, were very watchful and rotated the strikes for the first few balls, and once they got the hang of the wicket, they went nuts. This is exactly what the Indian side needed to do, but failed to do it. They tried to go hard from ball 1, but instead played out too many dots, pressure built up, and lost too many wickets. Everyone from the Indian bowling was took apart, especially Chahal. England have one team who picked Chahal and Kuldeep very well, whereas others have struggled. Even though India picked out two openers, it was already too late, and Beristo made sure he dusted off his test match form and tonged a few monstrous sixes to seal off the game and go one up in the series. To be honest, I would not be too critical about the Indian performance, as it's just one bad match and that can happen to any side, especially when you're playing a team like England. India looked very rusty since a lot of them have not played international cricket for a while. Not that it's an excuse, but still, yeah. And Bhuvi has last played in 2019 for India, and with the main guns unavailable, the Indian bowling looks very weak. India don't have much time to turn things around with just 1 day gap between the T20s, but we've seen them do that before, and let's just not be too disappointed with it. England just need to do what they did now more often and trust India to come back hard. Mouth-watering series coming up, so stay tuned. Till then, like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.